Okay, so I've just recorded this entire video without clicking the record button, so I'm kind of upset, but literally only just figured out that I didn't record it properly 10 seconds ago, so we're just going back on it. Today we're looking at Hiko, talking about pros quitting for streaming. We're essentially talking mainly about TenZ right now, because TenZ has left Cloud9 Blue to go essentially pro in content creation. That's a really bad way of putting it, but he's still signed with Cloud9. We're actually going to have a very good look and more in-depth look at this tomorrow. But that being said, let's take a look at what Jake and Hiko have to say about this. Yes, I have watched the entire video because I've already reacted to this and I didn't record.
In a recent stream, guys, it was Hiko, a member for the 100 Thieves Valorant team, talking about Valorant pros retiring or quitting competitive for now to pursue streaming and content creation. This coming within a day of TenZ for Cloud9, while removing himself from the Cloud9 Blue roster, which is suffering a lot with their losses thus far, and especially with a guy like TenZ being one of the best in the entire world of Valorant, him taking a step back to pursue content creation, of which he has now noted he might be taking a step back in later down the road. It's actually Hiko giving comment on maybe other pros and players in general doing the same thing, and he doesn't see it being very easy for TenZ to come back if he takes too long of a break.
Let's talk about, there is something I was thinking about.
Okay, so I already mentioned this point, but you didn't hear it because I wasn't recording, damn it. Hiko was in a somewhat similar spot to this before 100 Thieves. Still somewhat is in a similar spot, but not the exact thing. Obviously, the one thing I got to mention is that 100 Thieves did win the first tournament, right? Now, Cloud9's got really close to all of it, but they never actually finished out with #1 spot, and TenZ, there's no doubt that TenZ is a #1 player, so that must be pretty heartbreaking for him. But apart from that, content creation, there is just so much more financial security in. That being said, let's hear Hiko's take on it.
Oh. Somebody said, what are your takes on the TenZ situation? This is more of a question for the bigger picture of being a streamer versus being a pro. I think that most people these days know that you can make a lot more money and your life is a lot less stressful being a streamer than being a pro. You don't have to worry about tournaments. You don't really have to practice. You don't have teammates that rely on you. You don't have a schedule you have to make. You know, people aren't, if like yesterday, there's a big content patch that came out. I would have loved to be able to stream it, but we had practice.
Is someone vaping in the background? I only just noticed that.
So there's no doubt that the streamer life is not only more financially rewarding, you make way more money being a streamer to begin with, but then also your just life in general just has way less stress. You don't have to worry about a bunch of stuff. So, you know, I personally think every individual has a different prerogative and a different desire in life, whether that's, you know, do they want to make money? Do they want to, you know, actually play pro? Do they like the competition? Do they want to be able to travel to tournaments? There's all this kind of stuff. And I think with me, it's, you know, if I didn't have the drive and the desire to actually be a pro, I wouldn't, especially at 30, almost 31. So each person's different. I'm not retiring. It's not what we're just talking about TenZ. I don't know if you missed it, but TenZ announced that he stepped down from Cloud9's competitive roster. So he's going to be a full-time streamer for now, I guess, until he comes back, apparently. But yeah, I mean, I can't blame him. If I was in his shoes, it would be a consideration for myself as well, especially if I wasn't, you know, super excited or super happy about being a pro and having all these kind of responsibilities. I do think it's a little weird though that I think it's, I don't want to use the word weird, but I think it's just an interesting situation that a lot of people see him as one of the best players in maybe even the world, at least in the US. His aim is insane and his mechanics are really, really good. And he's just so far ahead of everybody. I feel like him retiring right now,
I had to say right now, I'm sorry to cut Hiko off. I was speaking more over this in the last video, but at this point, I'm just like, I'll let Hiko say what he has to say, and then I'll say what I have to say.
If he stays retired for like too long, it'll be too hard for him to come back. The meta's going to change. I mean, playing on a team is just so much different than just playing comp. So Yeah. If I had a recommendation for TenZ, I'd say, you know, I get it. I know you. I understand the wants to step down and not play competitively, but if he wants to come back, don't wait too long. I would hate for him, for somebody that's as young as he is and as good as he is, to kind of like waste away his career by, you know, trying to take his time to decide if he even wants to come back.
And it's important to bear in mind that when he says waste away his career, what I think Hiko's really meaning here, based on what he said about your own prerogative, it's all about what you want. And at the end of the day, when it comes to gaming, and I've spoken about the whole situation more in depth when it comes to the financial situation of content creation versus pro play and stuff like that, so that'll be out tomorrow most likely. But it is just a very different thing to be doing content creation over streaming. They're simply, in my opinion, two very different full-time jobs.
And I think Hiko's really addressing a lot of the things that we have thought about before. I think about Hiko himself. He even mentions himself as an iconic example. Once he loses, or if he did not have the desire to compete as a pro player, he probably too would go the streaming route, because it's a lot more relaxed. It's a lot more stressful, I imagine. And what he says, you can make a lot more money pursuing that instead for a longevity standpoint. You look towards Hiko or Jason R, NRG, Ace U, he certainly would have a career there. And now a guy like TenZ choosing streaming and content creation over competing.
The thing is, when it comes to content creation, is that there needs to be something that keeps people there. And I think TenZ has that with his aim. He is, well, we all know, right? We all know how good TenZ is at Valorant. So I think from that point of view, he definitely will be able to keep people in a way that I think, like Noted, for example, has done really well with YouTube as well. And I don't think he's doing pro play. He's doing content creation for Team Kangana, I believe. So it definitely is. It's an interesting situation. But the relevancy that TenZ will have, let's say he, you know, does some sort of clutch and that, you know, Cloud9 wins Valorant Champions Tour. The issue there is that the commitment that it will take to win VCT, which is essentially the World Cup for Valorant this year, will be enormous, and it will likely mean that he will have to temporarily, which is a good few months of temporariness, which isn't very temporary, you know what I mean though, focus on esports and competitive, which means that he would lose out on a significant amount of money from not being able to, you know, make videos every single day. Because when you're a content creator, and I know this because this is my job, when you're a content creator, every single day, a lot of the time, is a grind to think about what is not only what's interesting today, but if you're thinking about it from a long-term point of view, what's going to be interesting not tomorrow, but 3 months from now. And that's a very difficult thing to get down. If your energy and your time and your mental brain power is going towards esports, you simply won't have the same amount of time and dedication towards still, you know, being relevant. So it's a really difficult thing to sort of weigh up. But at the end of the day, I think TenZ is in a good spot right now. And if he decides to, say, in February or something, or March or whatever it is, come back to doing esports or doing whatever it might be, who knows? Regardless, whatever it is, I do wish TenZ the best for it, of course. And tomorrow I will have a video going up talking more about the financials of content creation and sort of going roughly over how much TenZ is making, which I think has led to this decision.
To a lot of eyes out there, it does make sense. It does draw the ultimate question, though. Will TenZ come back? If he does come back, will he still be competitive? To which Hiko does note, yes, of course, his aim will always be there, but the meta, especially throughout early 2021 and into Valorant, is going to continue to be changing quite heavily compared to most esports out there. Given its newness to esports in general, we will see if TenZ does come back. But
and what Jake, I don't think, is mentioning here, which is totally fine. I get it because he's a very general esports person and does very well at that, might I say. But when it comes to Valorant, you know, we have one new agent every couple of months. You know, we have 3 acts per episode and we have 2 episodes per year. So that's 6 agents per year. Now, the agent meta will, over time, be evolving. Right now, we're still sort of in the flash meta, it seems. But eventually, I think Riot will stop putting flashes in agents and we'll see something new. And when it comes to competitive, it'll be really interesting to see how TenZ approaches that. But with that being said, tomorrow we'll be talking more in depth about the financials of TenZ's content creation, Twitch and YouTube and everything along that lines. But with that being said, if this video was interesting, let me know. Also, let me know your thoughts on this. Was this a great idea? Was this a bad idea from TenZ? Please, whichever way you go, let me know why you think the way that you do. But with that being said, if this video was interesting or helpful to you, and you perform a like, it's always very much appreciated. If you would like to be kept up to everything happening in this game every single day, multiple times a day, this is Aki number 2, and I cover everything going on every single day. So if you want to be able to see everything happening, hit that subscribe button, keep notifications on. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. And I recorded this time.